want to welcome everybody to the call. I see a lot of familiar names. And again, I thank Danny for joining us. And Danny's going to be telling us not only about Rocky Mountaineer, which is a fantastic product on its own, but a group that he and I have put together. It's a special departure. And if all goes well, I might be joining you guys and be a group leader. So, and if it didn't work out that way and we only have a few, then you'll be on the train with everybody else, just as if you booked normally. So you kind of get the best of both worlds with these groups. And I know Danny's going to tell us all about that. So last item, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat box. That's right at the bottom of your Zoom screen. I'll read them off to Danny at the end. Or if anybody wants to be promoted to what we call a panelist so that you can turn on your webcam and ask questions, I don't mind that at all. Just let me know and we'll do that. And let's see, I can't think of anything else. So Danny, welcome and take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Michael, and thanks everybody for joining us today. Again, my name is Danny Becker, and I'm Business Development Manager for Rocky Mountaineer. I'm based in Dallas, and I've been with the company about almost 5 years. But I've been in the travel industry for 30 plus years. And Rocky Mountaineer, if you're not familiar with us, is enjoys a very good reputation. It's a very family-oriented company, very employee-oriented organization, and most importantly, a very guest-oriented travel experience. In fact, last year we got one of the highest ratings or scores in marketing scores in the industry. In fact, in any industry, it's called NPS score. It's a Net Promoter Score. And what NPS is it's a measurement of how likely our guests are to recommend Rocky Mountaineer to their friends and family. And we scored an 81 or 82, I think it was, and just amazingly high. And so we're really proud of that. And so we talk about it occasionally. This has been a challenging year for everybody, as you all know, and I'm going to go over our safety protocols. We did not have a season this year, and it's quite a year to not have a season in, because this was our 30th anniversary. So we're glad to get this year behind us. But we're looking forward to next year. Our bookings for next year are very solid, and we're excited to host some of you on our train with Michael's group next year as well. So let me go to this next page, which I think is not a slide at all. I think it is actually a quick video. So let me start. This is a beautiful video. It's one of our brand experience videos, and I thought you'd enjoy seeing this. Slide, experiencing the extraordinary. This is one of the bridges that we actually cross over on our first passage to the west itinerary, and I'll show you the routes here in just a moment. But before I get into that, I thought it was appropriate for this year to talk about what we're going to be doing next year safety-wise if COVID is still an issue. And you can see here we have a number of enhanced screening and prevention procedures that will include pre-board screening all of our guests and crew to report illness, enhanced sanitation with additional disinfection. We have these misting units that will be on board, and we're going all out to make sure that that the cars are are cleaned thoroughly and disinfected thoroughly. We're adjusting our boarding procedures as well if COVID is an issue. And what that means is we'll be boarding from half full motor coaches to half full rail coaches. So we won't, if COVID is still an issue, we'll be we'll be bypassing our beautiful boarding terminal there in Vancouver. We own it. You'll see a little quick video of it here in just a minute. And that's actually a shame because it's a beautiful facility, but we're safe. We're all about safety, and we're going to be, bypassing that only if the situation dictates it. Restricted movement across trains. We've got a whole system figured out now where we keep the same people in the same motor coaches and rail cars together throughout the trip. And we're just, again, we're taking a lot of precautions if the virus is still an issue next year. And so normally, our Gold Leaf cars will hold 68. It's entirely possible that we'll have, a maximum of 34 on our Gold Leaf coaches, which will mean just one seating on there too. But I'll show you the Gold Leaf, our two types of coaches here momentarily. The one thing I always go through, and we'll get into the group here in just a minute, by the way, but one thing I always like to go over is a day on board the train, because one of the misconceptions we hear, if not the biggest misconception we hear about prior to people experiencing the Rocky Mountaineer experience is, oh my gosh, what am I going to do on a train for 10 or 12 hours? And I want to explain kind of how this works. You can see our beautiful Gold Leaf domes there on the top left picture. That's part of the magic that happens, is just that beautiful platform you have to look through to see the Rockies. Incredible food, that next picture you see there. Great storytelling by the host. So it's not just sitting there gazing at the scenery. They're talking to you. They're educating you about the area, the history on the tracks. The train averages 30 miles an hour. Typically, we call it Kodak speed, but it's not uncommon at all for the engineers up in the locomotives to be radioing back to the host to say there's a bear on the left, or the spiral tunnels are upcoming, or whatever's coming up here. And then all of a sudden, your host may be serving you a drink, and they'll jump up and they'll say, there's a bear on the left, or whatever is coming up. So that's part of the excitement too. And photography really takes on a whole new existence on Rocky Mountaineer. You can see on that bottom left picture, there's a big bull elk on the side of the tracks that somebody's taking a picture of from one of the rail cars. So that's kind of the magic. And the wine certainly doesn't hurt at all. And it's, by the way, everything's included on the train. You will want for nothing on the train. All alcohol, beers, wines, soft drinks, snacks, meals, typically lunch and dinner for the meals. The only thing that is not included on the train is gratuities, and you can pay those on the last day, last rail day. So rail routes, let's just talk about those quickly before we get into the group. Here is our route map, and you can see down here at the bottom left is Vancouver, and our most popular route is our first passage to the west route. That's that reddish maroon route there. That's a 10-hour day from Vancouver to Kamloops, and then an overnight stop there in Kamloops, and then an early morning start the next day from Kamloops over to Banff and Lake Louise. And this is the route that you guys, that is in the group that we're promoting to you today. The blue route, also sharing Kamloops in the middle, is called Journey Through the Clouds, and the green route is called Rainforest to Gold Rush. That's our longest route. That's our 2.5 to 3 day route. So these routes form the core of our packages, right? And so I'll show you in a minute our group package. But here is a package that is very similar to the one that we have for our group. Only there's not the 2 days actually staying at Lake Louise. That's different. But you'll see that itinerary as we go through the slides here in a moment. But that's typically what our routes look like, or excuse me, our packages look like in our brochures. So here we are, day one on our group, arriving Vancouver Friday, July 30th. And if you haven't been to Vancouver, it is just an amazing city. The combination of the mountains and the ocean and just the beauty of it is really breathtaking. And they've got a stunning airport, the only airport I've ever seen that has a Fairmont in it. But you can see the cruise terminal there. Our office is actually just outside this picture, but Vancouver has so very much to offer. And so there's a day free in Vancouver included here, and I'll point that out to you here in a minute. So day one, arriving Vancouver, we're staying in the beautiful Fairmont Hotel Vancouver. It's one of 4 Fairmonts in the city. The other 2 are the Fairmont Pacific Rim, the Fairmont Waterfront, and then also the Fairmont at the airport. So there's an aerial view of the Hotel Vancouver. It's a grand old Fairmont, and it is absolutely stunning. So, and it's kind of in the heart of downtown. So day 2, Saturday, July 31st, a BC ferry, early morning BC ferry trip after breakfast over to Victoria. And you can see the BC ferry there. The entire motor coach will drive onto the ferry. So you'll have that motor coach over in Victoria. You'll just stay on it. You can get off the ferry, obviously, as you're headed over there, and it's a beautiful trip over there. It's about 90 minutes, and stunning trip. And lots of times you'll see dolphin and killer whales and things like that. So Victoria has just a lot of things to offer. It's a beautiful town. It is, right there where the Parliament is where you'll be staying. This is Bouchard Gardens. That almost doesn't look real, right? I mean, it almost looks like those flowers are but that's one of the stops after getting off the ferry there, and the motor coach will head over to Bouchard Gardens. And here is the famous Fairmont Empress, and this property has been redone recently, and they left a lot of the old history in some of the areas like the tea room and some of the bars, but they've also upgraded all the rooms and the lobby. And so it's really got the best of both worlds, the old and the new. And it's right there by the harbor. And that harbor that you see really becomes a fascinating airport on water. I kind of liken it to a DFW airport on water because of all the float planes that take off and land there. It's really fascinating to watch, especially if you're like me and you're an aeronautical geek. But so after that beautiful stay that evening there at the Empress, Fairmont Empress, the day 3, Sunday, August 1st, the BC ferry back to Vancouver, and you'll have a day in Vancouver. And it's up to you where you want to go. There's so much to do and see. You can go up to Granville Island, great place not too far from the hotel you're staying at. You can go over to the Suspension Bridge Park, Stanley Park, Grouse Mountain. There's so much to do and see in Vancouver. So just keep that in mind for if you're planning to join us on this trip. And then day 4, the first rail day, that's our Rocky Mountaineer station. It's actually right across the street from the main rail station there in downtown Vancouver. And this next slide is another little video. It's a quick video of our first departure of 2018, I believe it is. So let me go ahead and play this for you. It's very quick. It's only about 20 seconds or so. let's go quickly before we resume talking about the group. Pardon me. Let's go through the Gold Leaf Silverleaf. We're actually talking about Gold Leaf because that is our trip that we're taking is in our Gold Leaf cars. These are twin level rail cars. They hold 68 apiece. We have 10 brand new Gold Leaf cars. They're called our third generation Gold Leaf cars. They're built by a company called Stadler in Germany, and they're $10 million a piece. So they're very high end, very sophisticated rail cars with individual heating and air conditioning controls and automatic seat controls where you lean backwards and forwards, and they're just very sophisticated rail cars. And you can see how much taller they are in this picture as well than our other rail cars. That is actually an advantage going down the tracks, and you have this incredible perch, and you're looking over the trees instead of sometimes at the trees and on other rail experiences. So that's nice. And you can see from these outdoor pictures of these two Gold Leaf cars, there's a little observation platform, an outdoor viewing platform as well, toward the left-hand side of each car. And you'll see that from the inside in a picture momentarily. But this is the upper level of our Gold Leaf domes. And part of the technology that I was mentioning is you see that how the window darkens about halfway up. That's actually a new, very modern type of control that our hosts have, and they can actually make that upper part of the dome almost completely dark. So if we're in sunlight for a few minutes, they can make that darker. If we're stopped, we don't ever intend to stop for very long while we're on the routes, but if we do wait, if we're on a siding, waiting on another freight train to come by or something like that, then they can darken that, and that's some part of the technology that I mentioned. And these seats, all but the bulkheads, swivel. So if you have two couples that want to face each other and talk, and while you're enjoying a drink or snack, then our hosts can do that for you. So, and there to reach the downstairs area in these Gold Leaf cars, there are actually two spiral staircases, and there's a small lift on board as well in case there's someone who doesn't want to navigate the spiral staircase, or someone that's wheelchair bound or just needs a little bit of additional help getting downstairs to the dining area. Speaking of which, here's the dining area. This is where the magic happens. In our Gold Leaf kitchens, we have Michelin trained chefs. Our executive chef is constantly going back and forth between the Gold Leaf kitchens and making sure everything is done just perfectly. And it's all made to order, so we can handle any kind of dietary restrictions except kosher, I believe it is, because you have to have certain utensils and what have you for that. So, but just about anything else we can handle. So and these are 4-person booths in that downstairs area as well. And this is the inside out version of that picture I showed you earlier, where it showed the outdoor viewing platform. And this is a great area dedicated for our Gold Leaf guests in that particular car. It holds about 15 or 20. It's covered, it's protected. It's a great place to just bring your drink out there and meet people, take pictures, get some mountain air, and it's extremely popular for our guests to go out. And you can go out there anytime you want, and you can still hear the commentary lots of times, depending on what's in the area. You can still hear the commentary that's going on upstairs in the passenger area. So wildlife is a big issue on Rocky Mountaineer. You see a lot of it. It's not uncommon at all to see bears on the side of the track. We see lots of eagles and osprey, bighorn sheep. We always see bighorn sheep in the same place outside of Kamloops. And I'll tell you, I've been with Rocky Mountaineer almost 5 years, and I haven't seen a moose up that close. But I've been on the train 5 or 6 times, so that one may be a stretch. I have seen them from a long distance through binoculars, but the point is there's lots of wildlife, and so we want to be realistic.
As the vibrancy of Vancouver slowly evaporates in the distance, the majestic coast mountains rise up to greet you. And you find yourself on a historic journey that retraces the route of the great 19th century explorers. Let your imagination travel along with the first pioneers, across rushing rivers, through magnificent canyons, alongside sheer rock faces. But with the unparalleled luxury and service the early explorers could never dream of. Marvel in awe as you cut through ancient gray-green volcanic rocks that are 200 million years old. Well, give or take a million. Now you find yourself back in 1885 at Craigellachie, the famous site of the last spike, where Canada's east and west were finally united by 3,200 kilometers of track. With vivid historic imagery still in your mind, the awe-inspiring natural beauty continues to unfold before your eyes. Here's your chance to bring out your inner landscape photographer. Like those who came before you, your journey follows the Kicking Horse River deep into the breathtaking Canadian Rockies. Next up, the legendary spiral tunnels, which opened in 1909. Twist your way through the engineering marvel that proved to be the most difficult terrain to break on Canada's railroad. By now, you're as steeped in history as the vertical drops of the magnificent mountains you pass by. Postcard images continue to appear around every bend until eventually, world-famous Banff comes into view, and you're left wondering how it's possible to travel both forwards and backwards in time. The first passage to the west. Now, who says you can't travel through time?
This is our interim stop, and it's more than just an interim stop. It is really very, very important to Rocky Mountaineer because this is where our maintenance station is. So after we drop you all, after that 10-hour day, we drop you all off at the train station downtown and we motor coach you to your hotel. We back the train up to our maintenance yard and we clean it and we reprovision it. And it's everything is sparkling new when you come on board the next morning. The guys there on the welcoming team, they really think that they are they're Royal Canadian Mounties. They're not, but you know, we'll let them think that. No, seriously, they're always there on horseback. At least every time I've been on the train, they're greeters, and it's just a nice touch to have them there on the platform when the train pulls up, and you can see some of the sights there of the train coming over the bridge into Kamloops. And one of the hotels we use the most is a fairly new property, and I'll just say there are no, oops, I went too fast on that. There are no luxury hotels, but this is a very, very nice hotel. One of the hotels we use there in Kamloops. That slide is automatic there, as you can tell. But it's called the Sandman Resort and Conference Center, and it's beautiful. So, and it's right there by the train station there in Kamloops. So, day 5, Tuesday, August 3rd, is the second rail day from Kamloops to Banff. Another approximate 10-hour day. So much to do and see in Banff, and some of it you'll see on subsequent days after this. But just keep in mind, it's just one of those areas that you just want to walk around and explore. Lots of shops, not uncommon at all for a big bull elk to be playing golf with you there on the links. And so I just know to give them wide berth, and that's all you need to do on that. But so that is the arrival day, and our hotel in Banff is a fantastic property. That's one of our Gold Leaf properties. It's called the Rimrock Hotel, and this is a very interesting property because it's built on the side of a mountain, Sulphur Mountain. And so you enter on the 7th floor, and the upper floors are above you, and the lower floors are down, cascaded down the mountain. It's very unique. and it's right underneath the Sulphur Mountain Gondola. But this is an amazing property. I got a chance to really, get to know this property last October when I led a group of 104 on our train. We had two rail cars, two gold leaf cars, and the Rimrock could not have done a better job with that. And it's just a wonderful property to be at for a few days. And then, like, again, there's some more shots of the Banff activities in that area. They have some hot springs in the area, lots of shops. And the Rimrock is only about a 5-minute cab ride from there. And they have a shuttle service too, I think, that goes back and forth. And there's the Sulphur Mountain Gondola as well. And so the next day we'll be boarding our Brewster partners. They have brand new motor coaches that are more like high-end RVs actually. And they hold 52. And for our sightseeing tour on day 6 there of Banff and Yoho National Park. And this is a lake called Emerald Lake. And it is stunning because it looks just like that because you can see the mountain reflecting in the very still lake. That's how pure and clean it is. And there's a beautiful hotel there too. And you can walk all the way down to the hotel on this walkway area. And it's just one of the great stops on that Banff and Yoho Mountain tour. And one of the things that's fascinating to me is that you will have gone through these tunnels. Let me back up here because that's an automatic. You will have gone through these tunnels. There we go. The day before, and you'll see them from the outside on the next day. And you'll end up this day at Lake Louise, and we'll do a group photo there. And if you haven't been to Chateau Lake Louise, you just sit there and you rub your eyes because it's so beautiful. You can't even believe it's real. And you can canoe out on this lake, and you feel like you're floating on this aqua cloud, and it's just an amazing place. And I think we'll be having a lunch there. Again, here's the canoes that you can rent to go out on the lake. And then another night there at the Rimrock in Banff. It's about a half-hour, 45-minute trip back up to Banff. And then sightseeing on the way to Calgary. So that's day 7. And you'll do the Sulphur Mountain Gondola. You'll do Surprise Corner. And I'm not going to tell you what that surprise is because it wouldn't be a surprise anymore. But then you'll do the Hoodoos, which are some really interesting rock formations. And on the way to Heritage Park, here's the upper level of the Sulphur Mountain Gondola, and it is stunning. If you're lucky and you get a clear day, it's this amazing 360-degree view of the Bow Valley. It's like God just parted the mountains there and gave the perfect spot to see that stunning scenery. So. Now, Heritage Park, this is actually a picture I took off the internet, so it's got these little things in it. So, but we just started offering Heritage Park, so I don't know a whole lot about it other than it has a lot of attractions there and places to eat and just, old-timey cars and things like that. But there'll be a stop there. And Calgary is our end point. It's a beautiful city. It's a cowboy city. They have the Calgary Stampede there, and a lot to do and see there. And you'll be staying in the very best property in all of Calgary, and that's the Fairmont Palliser. It too has been recently redone, and all brand new rooms. The lobby area, a lot of that is new. The bars have been touched up, and here are a few pictures of the grand Fairmont Hotel, Fairmont Palliser there in Calgary. Beautiful lobby area. Again, they left a lot of the traditional style because it's so ornamental and just so beautiful. But the rooms are a little bit more modern, as you can see here. But they're extremely comfortable. I've stayed in this property probably 5 or 6 times, and I like it more every time I'm there. And there's a beautiful pool area, one of the bars there. And so this is for your last night there in Calgary. And then some of our awards we've won, I'm not going to go through these and belabor these, but Rocky Mountaineer has won a lot of awards over the years. And you can find a lot of more information online about the ones we've we've won, but there's just a few of them there. So this is our, and Michael, I know that we'll probably be forwarding this to you all if you don't have it already. Maybe some of you already do, but this is the part of the front page. I couldn't get all of the entire flyer on here, but there's the intro rates, the dates of the trip, the single and double occupancy rates, the inclusions, and anyway, Michael, I know you'll make that available to them as well. Yep. And there's your contact information, Michael. And I guess other than that, we're ready for some questions.
All right, great. We've got several questions in the box here. I'm going to kind of go through them. And again, anybody, if you think of a question, chat, you can send it in the chat, or you can just ask to be promoted to a panelist, and you can ask it yourself by turning on. But one of the first questions we had, one of the biggest questions for any planned trip these days is cancellation policy. What can you tell us about that?
Happy to do so. It's good timing too, Michael, because we are just about to announce some relaxed policies on booking, deposit requirements. I can't do that just yet because we're waiting on the groups part of that. But we will be coming out with that on October 1st. And we'll get that over to you, Michael. I'll make a note and be sure and send it to you. And then, we'll know what, by then, of course, our group's policies are, what they've been changed to as well.
Okay. So I'll definitely get that out to the group. And John, thanks for that question. And I understand your concerns that.
Absolutely. That's why we're making these changes.
Yep. And a lot of these things, a lot of companies are, and Rocky Mountaineer is going to do the right thing. Okay, so I'm looking through these, and this question was answered. Steve wants to know, how much time do you have at Bouchard Gardens? Because it takes several hours to see the whole thing, all of the grounds.
Being that you guys have a full day there, it's more when you stay all night at the Empress. So I'm thinking there's going to be 2.5 to 3 hours there at Bouchard, and then you'll head downtown Victoria. So there's not that many things that we take you to, but I'm pretty sure, I've never done that combination of tours myself, but I'm pretty sure they go directly off the ferry over to Bouchard Gardens and then to downtown Victoria to see the other sites around there, the BC Parliament and all of that. So I know there's a good amount of time, especially on that trip, because you're staying at the Empress that night.
Here we said, do you sleep on the train? The answer is no, and then we did answer that. And by the way, guys, you can go to our website and navigate to the Rocky Mountaineer trip, and actually we've set up a way for you to do that directly. You just go to taketherail.com. It will take you straight to this page. It has all the details. It has some videos, the pricing, the day-by-day, all of that, and a flyer that you can download as well. You can invite your friends to go with you. All right, so we had a question. When you're in Banff, do you go to Jasper National Park?
Not on this trip, we don't. Occasionally we do, like we'll have sometimes if you're going up to Jasper and just exploring that area, or if you're going on our northern route, we'll do that one way up the Icefields Parkway. But on this trip, we're not offering that. This is kind of all packaged together, but we can certainly arrange it if on an FIT booking, an individual booking.
And this question just came up. What is unique about this specific group trip versus a normal Rocky Mountaineer trip?
Well, there's a lot more packed into it, a lot more value. Some meals, the excursions, and it's typically, we don't, most of our packages have, 1 or 2 days each in Banff and Lake Louise. This gives you the opportunity to spend more time in one hotel in the Rockies and kind of use that as your base of operations. So those are some of the unique things about the group, is the inclusions. And it's just, we really do pack a lot of value into our into these what we call guaranteed group dates. So,
and I'll also say this, Harry, you asked the question, you haven't been on one of our group trips as far as I know, but there are some people on the call that have. And, you know, when Kelly and I host these trips, it's just more fun. And you have always someone to sit down and have a cocktail with in the evening. It's not like always somebody else in the group, you know, you're there as together, and it's a shared experience, and it makes it a totally different trip. Now, I'm not going to host a trip if it's 4 or 5 people, but if we get a good number of people going, then we're going to go and be your host, and it'll make it that much better. And having an experienced traveler with you, I promise you, it makes life easier.
yeah, and the group thing is very true. We always say groups, it's better in a group is kind of our short little motto there. And I wish you could have seen the interaction between everyone on that big group that I escorted last October. It was just so much more fun in a group.
Yeah, we have people come back, and we do shared photo albums, and I had take as many pictures of the people interacting and having a good time and getting to know each other and making new friends as I do the beautiful scenery that you see in that part of the world. And that's what we specialize in. So hopefully we get enough people to make it a group trip, and I'll be there with you. And I think you'll see why we have so many group trips. That's what we specialize in. Now, that being said, maybe this itinerary isn't for you. We can look at any trip you want to go on, and you won't be part of a group, but you can do one of the itineraries, for example, where you do go into Jasper and go see the glaciers in that area. So you don't have to feel like you're painted into a corner and only can choose this itinerary. You can choose another one. I'm glad to help you with any of them. Danny, we had one more question come in. What do you think the weather will be like during that time, July and August, early August?
That's the prime time to go. The days are longer and warmer. It's just, the Rockies can be a little bit busier during that time, but I think the benefits, definitely outweigh that. And it's just, again, it's just the time to go. It's our busiest time of the year.
If anybody has further questions about it, you can set up an appointment with me. We can do it on Zoom. I had some clients come into the office yesterday. It's very spread out and spacious, and everybody will wear masks. And you can set up an appointment to come in, or we can do it over the phone, and we can get you booked, or we can just answer whatever particular specific questions you might have. And of course, if you think of something when we close out the talk today, you have my email. I'll put it back in the chat box as well, but it's michael@mgatravel.com. And if you go to taketherail.com and you're looking at that, you'll see at the top right, there's a contact us, and you can contact us directly. And if you're excited about going on this trip, I hope it becomes a group. I would love to escort you guys. And Danny, I want to thank you for taking your time today to tell us about this group.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, our advanced bookings for next year are just really coming in well. I think Western Canada is going to be a very popular spot when we get this virus behind us here, hopefully very soon. So thank you all for coming and listening. And
thank you all for being on the call. Have a great day. Thanks, Danny.